Instagramming, you name it, every social media platform. We are here for Make Some Intelligent Noise. And that's exactly what we're going to do today, is make some intelligent noise. So, Black Wall Street, that was something that in 1921, we had a Black Wall Street. And people were the Republic of the United States, right? And they were making money. And they were doing extremely, extremely well. And then all of a sudden, folks came along and they burned it down. They didn't want us to prosper. But you, Abundance, are doing something really great with the Drop Squad Kitchen. It's all family. It's family-owned, operated business. I love that. I love that. Yeah. So tell the rest of us, how can we do that so that we can recreate a Black Wall Street?
I think you just do it. I know it's very simple. You just do it. And for me, I actually take it really seriously. I'll call family meetings with my mom, all my brothers, my children, and say, hey, it could just start with one idea. I think I have a really good idea. People seem to like this vegan food. Nobody else is doing it right now at the time in Delaware. I think we should all come together and do it. And so my mom had the venue. She had Molly's Old Fashioned Ice Cream. She said she wanted out. She never worked so hard in her life. Retail was hard. This was not the best retirement project idea. And my brother, he is great with graphic designs. He is just a creative storyteller. He is amazing with being able to do videos. He's a producer. He does music well. That means that we don't have to go outside the house to do flyers, to do our own commercials, to have our own models, to have our own photography, to have our, all of these things. And because we've all worked at Molly's Old Fashioned Ice Cream, he was a great manager. He was a great manager. My mom is a great business professional. So she was like, listen, I will sell it to you for these many thousands of dollars. I'm like, why can't you just give it to me? Look, you'll get it back in your inheritance, but you need to be paid.
Right.
So, because somebody else could have bought the brand.
Yes.
And our family could have benefited in that way. So, of course, I gave my children the opportunity. I was like, listen, you can go to these schools if you want to. And then you go to their colleges and keep learning in their box and then go work for somebody else's family and make them rich. And then, or that's ideal. Or you could be in somebody's neighborhood begging for a job. Or you could stay here and I guarantee you, Ananatawa and Miyar, by the time you're 25, you will be millionaires. So like, yeah, but we're with you.
Right.
And so literally every single person in my immediate family is a minister and it is in a ministerial capacity for Abundance Child Ministries and Drop Squad Kitchen and receives finance for whatever work that they do in their ministerial capacity. So when I needed my food costs done, my brother put together an amazing presentation that I should have been paying, I think, $5,000 for, but he did it, and he did get paid thousands, but I'm talking about this was a presentation that was worth probably $5,000 to $10,000 that you get from top-notch companies. He did it. And now I'm able to redo things. So he's not necessarily in the business being a manager, but I can hire him on for contract purposes.
Right.
I have another brother who is our chic shaman, and he does like all the cooking right now. My other daughter took my place as the food artist. My youngest daughter is the chief server, so she's the person who's in the front. That is a major homeschool and social experience.
Yes.
Because she is 17.
Yes. Yes.
And so you already know mother and daughter relationships and
yes.
she's telling customers off and things like that. And we have to be like, hold up, you understand that if you were anywhere else, you would not have a job.
Yes.
So in fact, you were fired from Drop Squad Kitchen and you will continue being here mandatory for homeschool. So you don't get paid because you still haven't learned because anywhere else in the world. So that's how I did it. It was really just an idea I had. And I chose this family. I'm in this family and I like nice things. I like being able to pay, bills and things like that. And so who better to do it with other than your family because every time we buy clothes from somebody, every time we buy a car, we buy a house, we are literally lining the pockets of somebody else's family that is living the life that we want.
Yes.
And a lot of times the life that we want based off of somebody's idea of what we want is.
Of what a good life means.
Right.
A house with a white picket fence, 2.5 cars in a garage and some kids, right? But that's not for everyone. But what I hear you saying and what I'm absorbing out of this is find the people in the family that already have the talents and put those people together at doing something.
Yeah.
So if you're good at graphic arts and you're good at menus and you're good at customer service, then that's how we bring it together and we recreate the Black Wall Street, which is basically self-owned property and business and self-management.
Right.
Yeah, I love that concept. I was so disappointed when I read the entire story on what happened in Greenwood in 1921. It just really broke my heart. Those people were thriving and other folks didn't like it, so they just burned it down to the ground. Much like Emmett Till was accused of whistling at a woman and then was beat literally to a pulp. They had to have a closed casket funeral for Emmett Till when they found his body. He had been beaten so bad. So
in pre-segregation, like a lot of our communities were Black Wall Streets. Even right there in New York, it's slipping my mind right now, but I have a book on it, and they had their own society with their own schools, their own dentists, their own lawyers. Pre-segregation, we had a lot of those things because out of survival, we had to have those things. And during so-called slavery, we had those things. We forget that who controlled the market for cotton was women of so-called color. We controlled that market. We controlled the tobacco market and things like that. We were the people who were on those plantations. They took us off of those plantations and put us in chains. So there were my family, which I'm a descendant of, or the Free Blacks of Israel Hill. We were people who created our own settlement in Virginia. So we have had Black Wall Streets all over. And when I found out, thanks to my cousin Quaheen Muhammad, that I am a descendant of those people, I was like, oh, no, man, no.
Right there, it's on.
Yeah, like we can do it. Like I don't like looking at other people as superstars and heroes. We had this conversation last time.
Yes.
Again, I try to find the virtues and the values that I would like to embody. I'm not saying my relationship with my mother is the perfect, no mother-daughter relationship is, or my father's for that matter, because I have a stepfather and a biological father. However, there is something that chose them for me to be a better human. So
they say that we choose our parents.
I believe that.
Based, especially our moms. Yeah, we choose our parents based on what we need to learn from them.
I definitely subscribe to that philosophy. I don't even believe I know those things. I use it on my door all the time. Well, you chose me.
Yes.
So you can hate me all you want, but this is your contract. So I really stopped looking outside of myself. And I actually was writing about it this morning. I was like, man, I started out really strong with Drop Squad Kitchen being like a completely Dr. Sabi alkaline, but Delaware was slow. Its learning curve was very high. People didn't want quinoa. They didn't want chickpeas. They didn't want any of these things. They didn't want the sour apple fresh juice that I had. They didn't understand the chocolate chickpea bars that I had and the black bean brownies. They didn't understand a lot of these things. But now, 5 or 6 years later, I feel as though Drop Squad Kitchen has been a dominant force in plant-based movement in Delaware. So now I can go back and relax on my brand Unapologetically Healthy, where I can use it more as outreach to be like, although we sell V-steaks and mock meat chicken, like Buffalo Soldier and the Marley salad at Drop Squad Kitchen, let me show you how to make fresh juice. Let me show you how to use Kamet instead of oats because it's too acidic. Let me show you instead of, like, I made some cornbread the other day and didn't use any corn. I used millet. Things like that. Like, that is where my creative juices get flowing. And I feel like that's what we need as a people in order to uplift ourselves. We can't be thinking about a Black Wall Street if the one thing that we can control is what we put in our mouth. We have to get from other people. So I want to show people how, I work with the Lassiter Foundation to set up a garden in my backyard, things like that, so that I can have my own peppers, I can have my own mint, and studying with people like Mama Genoveva that we know from the People's Festival and going in her garden and just with her literally picking me chocolate mint and and all types of, things that I'm like, you literally are growing these things. So to me, we have to have a certain type of state of mind before we try to just push these ideals that we had long time ago, which really came out of survival, because it was like, okay, so we can't go to your schools. We're going to have our own schools. That's where I feel like we're kind of at right now because of this COVID thing. A lot of people have the opportunity to see what they're made of.
Yeah, absolutely. And do the homeschooling. But you and I both know that every parent is not a homeschooling type of parent for whatever reason.
I don't know why. But,
Yeah. Well, you and I, we do know why. But what I'm going to say to you, I think what I hear you saying and appreciating what has been said, and if I understand you correctly, I'm thinking that the food that we eat, as well as the nourishment that we give our children, has a lot to do with the mental health, the state and emotional health that our children are going to deal with. And when we talk about, for me, because I'm so passionate, massive incarceration of the brown community, I look at the children. They run to the corner store. They're getting juices made with orange and blue dyes.
Blue number 5.
Yeah, they're like, it's horrible. And they're eating potato chips and Doritos before they go to school. This is not healthy and conducive learning. And I really think it just leads to the prison pipeline from our school children. So what can parents do to be healthier, to kind of cut that prison pipeline off by better, our better nourishment?
Unfortunately, this is nothing really has changed as far as I'm concerned. We're still enslaved and whatnot. So we have to have a different type of environment. How do you tell a parent that is 4th generation food stamps to stop buying what they get with their WIC and try to get maybe Daiya cheese instead? Because most of us are lactose intolerant.
Yes.
All right. How do you tell them to not eat the sugar cereals that are on sale? And they're advertising that this is a nutritional breakfast, and then you send your children off to some foreigners who are not in alignment with where you might want to be, and then they feed your child something at lunch that is full of sugar, and then your child is just not paying attention in school or is tired, and so now their child is tracked and labeled for the prison to pipeline. Right. So the environments have to change, and I think the environments have to change family to family. Meaning there's somebody in every single family that is the black sheep, that was the me, that was the one that was vegan, that all of a sudden wanted to take her shahada, that wanted to shave my hair and not have that, oh, you have that good hair, that straight hair, that didn't want to vaccinate my children, that wanted to homeschool, and it was just weird, and my parents were like, you're just too much. I didn't send you to Ursuline Academy and to college for this lifestyle. Right. Because a lot of times the conscious community is synonymous with not having any money. So I was involved in a lot of that. And they were just like, I didn't invest in you and your education to have that. But I am that one person that I realize has rubbed off on my brothers and sisters, my aunties and my uncles. I love how my family comes and gets fried chicken skins, made with no gluten or anything that's not healthy, and I can fry it in a good oil or not fry it at all, and they come and get it, and they're just like, man, this satisfied my craving. I was getting ready to go to Popeyes, but I thought about abundance has fried chicken. You have to stand strong, and you have to know that you are the Christ in your family. You are the one that exudes that Christ consciousness, and you have to stand very firm. And remember that all of these trials and tribulations that you go through are to make you to be a better person, to be a better version of yourself, to improve your lineage so that generations, after you don't have to suffer the trauma that you have gone through. And I'm only saying that because I was that person. It was just like, but your hair was so pretty. You know what I mean? But you're so smart. Yes. But I didn't send you to school to go to Bobby Hemmett lectures and Stokely Carmichael and things like that. And now, especially during COVID, I receive messages from my mother like, man, you were so right. I'm learning so much from you. You were right all along. All this time you were homeschooling, and how the world is being forced to homeschool.
Doesn't that feel good?
It feels amazing.
It's amazing. It took a long, long time for my mother and I to get on the same page about our spiritual beliefs. She's a straight Bible thumper, and that's all it is. It's not, there's no Quran, there's no Buddha in her life, there's none of that. No astrology. No, none of that, okay? That's all in her mind. That was some form of evil worship. But in the last few years of her life, I'll never forget the moment my mother asked me, how to build an altar. Yeah, right? I was like, you're asking me how to build an altar, because I had 2 or 3 of them, and she was, get that, I don't want that around my grandchild. And she was very adamant about that. And her asking me to do that really was just volumes, was a message of volumes. Isn't that a wonderful feeling when our parents can do that with us?
I think that each one teach one with our parents and our children. I definitely learned the most from my children. And as you told me earlier, a lot of the things that I'm going through right now with my youngest daughter is really just showing me how to improve myself. It's teaching me about myself. Yes. It's teaching me patience, if anything. Yes. It's teaching me tolerance. It's teaching me how to invoke. I hate that we always use the same, goddess, but it's teaching me how to invoke Oshun in my life so that I can be unconditional in the way that I love and I express my love for all things, in nature. So, and sometimes it might not be like, look, I'm gonna whip you. It might be like, you know what? You are needed. You are loved. Yeah. You are cared for.
Yes.
I really admire you, but I really need you to understand that, as my mother shared with me, your frontal cortex right now is not really developed until you're 25.
Right.
And you really don't understand consequences. And me as a living ancestor want you to know that I've went through all of this before you. Yes. And that if you don't stop right now, you're going to have to go work at a Starbucks, and you will not get away with just walking out and having an attitude and saying, I don't like the way this person works. So I'm learning now to be more tender, because that's really what I wanted somebody to be with me.
Yeah.
Like we just got whipped.
Yeah.
We just got hit in the face. I remember one time I was 17 years old at Baynard Stadium. It was like the Twilight Relays or all county something. And this was my opportunity to be around people of my same complexion, because I said I went to Ursuline and there wasn't anything like that. And I was loving the attention from the boys and stuff like that. I was always in the top 3 in the state in track, and I was not with my team. And I was standing on the side, and the guys and girls were talking to me. And my mom was like, you need to be with your team. Get with your team. This is now not the time. And I was like, why you always got to be in my business? She said, boom.
Wow.
I was 17 years old. I was Mimi's age. And I always keep trying to tell her, like, you are not too old.
That's right. That's right. Because respect goes a long way. Mm-hmm. I mean, obviously with our mom and our dads, but it goes a long way in every relationship that we have with another human being. Mm-hmm. I mean, if you can't respect other people, even if it's like, well, I respect you and I agree to disagree with you, right. It's still, that's a level of maturity. Mm-hmm. And when people don't do that, it makes it a very uncomfortable situation. Now, as a parent, we can smack them, or discipline them however we see fit. In other relationships, in other relationships, we can't do anything but either deal with it or not so much. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I know when they took away the parental rights, where Nana could call the police because you smacked her. Right. My son was 12 years old, and I don't remember. I think it had something to do with cleaning up the backyard. And he said no, or I don't remember all the details, but I do remember him saying he was going to call the authorities on me. I handed him the phone and said, by the time they get here, you and I will have conducted our business. Right. It will be done.
Wow. It's a shame. I remember talking in class in Cesar Ronnie Junior High School and got beat. Like they used to physically beat us in school. I don't know if you grew up during the time when we used to actually get beat in school.
I did, yes, I do remember that. Yeah, because I'm a little older than you, so I do remember the wooden paddle and had little holes in it. Yes.
Like, come on,
and when you got home, there was another one waiting for you from the parental, because just the whole
and maybe
thing,
your grandma,
just because you put me through this, I'm gonna whoop your tail.
And because I was also told, I don't know about you, but what you do is a representation of me.
Yes.
I remember that. And I always tell my children the same thing. I might not be in Drop Squad Kitchen, but when I see the reviews sometimes, I'm like, man, it's like the customer service is just horrible over there. It's just terrible.
Oh my God.
Yes, and it is.
Yes.
I mean, I think that when it's good, it's good, but when it's bad, it's bad.
Yes. And well, that's just polishing up the people that you know what to do about that.
I really don't, but I do utilize my sisters. I utilize my brothers. I am very grateful to have a community that I can go to. Like, I called Professor David one day. I said, Professor David, I'm going to show her what I learned in jiu-jitsu. He was like, but just let me go get her.
Yeah.
Because I said, I am too emotional right now. If I see her, we're going to be brawling in the riverfront because and people are going to see that.
Yes.
And one time I picked her up. I let her do her thing, and I picked her up, and somebody said that they saw this girl getting into this black tinted out Magnum, and they weren't sure if that girl wanted to get in, and so they thought that she was forced. So these cop cars rolling around, and I'm sitting in the back saying, Yara, you've got to do a better job. Like, we're cool at this point. He was like, have you seen a black Magnum or a black Charger? Somebody said somebody got kidnapped. I was like, what? I was like, this is the car, and this is the tall girl you're talking about.
Yes.
And he was like, oh, but I know it's not you.
Right.
And I was like, see, Miara? See, this is for real. Like, this is for real. You never know who's watching. And thank God she's not somebody who's ever going to call the police or anything. Well, most I willing is ever going to call the police or anything, but people see things, and all they're going to see is me hitting my daughter.
Right.
And they're just,
I'm a firm believer. One of the things I always say about Make Some Intelligent Noise is that there is always a backstory. Every person that's incarcerated or jammed up in a situation, it's not just face value. Sometimes there are stories. If someone came and thought you were kidnapping her, they wouldn't even know the backstory of you disciplining her because of this or that or whatever the behavior was. Like, they don't see all that. They just see the girl being kidnapped or whatever into the car, which is really a mother just disciplining her daughter,
I was like,
teaching her
get in
daughter.
this car. I'm ready to go home. Like, we're not playing this right now. Like, get in the car.
But you know what drives me absolutely passionately nuts? When I see young mothers and the young baby, 2, 3, 4, 5-year-olds, and they're allowing them to do the whatever the name of the dances are, the twerk, burk, I don't like that. And then they're cursing them out. Get the fuck in the house, or I'm gonna put your ass. I can't say it on the radio, but
that's how they were raised.
Yeah, like, wow.
And they are allowed to watch TV.
How are you going to tell a 3 and a 5 and a 6-year-old little child that I'm going to F you up and whoop your tail and blah, 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 because of, like, how do you do that? I can't even fathom that as a mother. I didn't do that to my son.
Again, like you said, we don't know what their circumstances are. And I know from my own circumstance that didn't grow up in a household, a socioeconomic status that provided for me to be in that environment, that I ended up being in those types of environment because I chose that route. Like, I needed to learn the hard way. But I have a lot of friends that grew up in homes like that and grew up in homes like that. I see their moms and their grandmoms and their great-grandmoms talk like that. I see that behavior is allowed on TV. Also, I don't necessarily see with our complexions. Like, I took Miara's electronics away. I said, I don't know what you're watching or what you're watching on YouTube or Instagram, where I see a lot of European descendant children telling their parents to get out of their room. Woo! Do you understand what I'm saying? I'm like, I don't know what makes you think that behavior is going down here.
It's not
going down here like that. Right. So let me let you take a break.
Yeah.
Because you're 17. I didn't raise you on TV, but I've given you a lot of freedom to be able to have your own phone and things like that. But you might be watching too many movies where children are just yelling and saying, I hate you. Like, we couldn't do that to our parents. Like,
people of our complexion, we were raised to have respect.
Mm-hmm. Even in those environments that you're talking about.
Yes.
You're then telling, because that creates a fear in those children until they turn around and be like, well, this worked. When my mom said, get the F off it worked. And so they're going to do it to their children.
Yeah.
So we have to remember that everything is a cycle, that every single thing that we're going through in this life right now is a result of our past deeds.
Is there any way, I know where we started. I mean, we're not going to have that conversation again. Slavery, Jim Crow, da-da-da-da. We're not going to go through that again. By now, everyone should be up to speed on how we got where we are. But what can we do at this point to help these young moms recognize that they're raising kings and queens? Their sons and daughters are kings and queens who are going to grow up to be the Black Wall Street lawyers and doctors and journalists. And like, how do we help them understand that? Is there a way to do that?
You have to help them understand that they have potential to be kings and queens. let's not get it confused. Not every single Black person descended from kings and queens. They tried to flip the script on us after they told us this falsification that we all came here from slavery. Then they tried to turn it around. Oh, we are the descendants of kings and queens.
Right.
Not everybody was a descendant of a stereotypical king and queen. Now, we need to teach people that everybody's a king and queen and sovereign because they have their own sovereign mind.
Yes.
Everybody came with their own mind, their own ori. They came with something that holds their destiny. That's what we need to be teaching people, and that your families are a result of lineage, age, lessons, and things like that you have built up in your own DNA. We should be teaching them that they are unique, that they are valuable, and they are here on this earth for a reason, and that nobody was put here to be suffering. Nobody was put here to be in pain or to be in poverty. Nobody. This is something that was created by the powers that be. And the powers that be know these things. That's why they have these Masonic organizations and things like that they take credit for. However, they learned these things from our ancient lineages.
Yes.
So we need to go back to finding the basics to teach people that, listen, you are unique, you are powerful. Now, what is your medium? For some people's medium, it may be the Bible. For some people, it may be the Quran. For some people, it may be the Bhagavad Gita. For some people, it may be Om Mani Padme.
Right. Yes.
Whatever it is, you need to find your medium. And I think that we should be helping the people that we're interested, or whatever that targeted audience is to find what their medium is, to help them get in touch with who they are, yes, to get them in touch with their higher self. Because it's their higher self that can lead them to their own salvation. Nothing else can save them. Not any Orisha, not any Jesus, not anything like that. All right. These great prophets and prophetess came to teach us how to be the best versions of ourselves, not to go mimic them. Yes. We should be honoring and evoking the virtues of Jesus Christ, yes, of Buddha, yes, of Ifa, of all the Orisha or in Arumale, right?
Right.
Not trying to be them, but trying to develop that God in us.
Yes,
that's discipline. What Elijah Muhammad was saying. We said the Black man is God. Like, that's what it is. We need to teach them that. Now, you might have the potential to become a king and a queen and a CEO or whatever that means to you in your life, but you have to have some goals and objectives and some steps, and they have to be healthy ones.
Yes. I agree. Oh my God, girl, teach on. But make those announcements first before we go another step forward.
So, Latin American Community Center, which is located at 301 North Harrison Street, from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. by appointment only. You can call 302-320-6439. We also have a test site for the free, these are test sites for the free COVID-19 tests in Wilmington that are going on next week. The other one is at Frawley Stadium, the north parking lot, which is located in the riverfront at Frawley Road and Shipyard Drive. That test site is 2:30 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. It is drive-through and walk-up. You must register in advance. Again, so you have a test site at the Latin American Community Center on North Harrison Street from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. And that number again is 320-6439. And finally, there is one at the Frawley Stadium located in the riverfront.
Awesome. And I'll just add to that, on 2001 Washington Street, the Sharon Temple Seventh-day Adventist Church is also doing testing and antibody testing as well as COVID-19. You can check them out any day, Monday through Friday. Give them a call. That's Sharon Temple at 2001 Washington Street. They are doing free testing. And you're listening to Rachelle and Empress Abundance Child here at WHGE, as well as we're podcasting on Spotify, Anchor, Apple, and so many other, all over the world. You can listen to us. You can always chime in to Rachelle Wilson. Just pull up my name on your Google search, and there you will find my website. You will also find podcast, Facebook, you name it, I'm there. So all you have to do is put in AB, and it just Abundance Child just pops up everywhere. Right. Drop Squad Kitchen. Ashe.
I do have an announcement.
Yes.
On November 7th, at Milk and Honey, in the back section, we will be having a dinner concert. It will be Sarak and Soul Messiah performing, and the event is from 6 to 9. It is a 5-course plant-based soul food dinner. And again, this will be in Wilmington, Delaware on November 7th from 6 to 9 p.m. Again, it is 5-course, and Sarak will be performing for the first time live the Sharecropper's Daughter album.
Awesome. Now, you guys hold on to that date. We'd love to see you show up. And if you're vegan, if you're not vegan, like such as myself, I think you'll still like it. Like, I've actually tried some of these foods that have weird names, like the black bean brownie. Yeah, whatever. And it actually tastes really very good. It really does taste very good. So we're going to sign off with our podcast, and we're just going to talk a few more minutes. But Abundance, do you want to leave my guest with anything on the podcast?
Like what?
Just your beautiful, loving spirit.
Yeah, I'll leave them with that.
Yes. All right, to my podcast audience, I want to say thanks for tuning in. You'll catch me here absolutely every Sunday and absolutely every Wednesday, right here, Rachelle Wilson for Make Some Intelligent Noise and the Political Power Hour. To my podcast audience, thanks for tuning in. Peace and grace.
Peace. Wow.
Okay, that was very good. And we're here, and I believe we still have just a few more moments right here at the station. I think I want to close by saying again, it was very disheartening to me to find out about what took place in 1921, why they burned it, what it was all about, how the people that were actually, I'm so happy to find out, we fought back. Mm-hmm. We did fight back. We didn't win the battle, but maybe we'll win the war. But moving forward, I want everyone within the sound of my voice to know that I am passionate about recreating Black Wall Street, just self-independence. Just be an independent person. Find the people in your family who can do the artwork, who can set up the technology. Find a young person, and let's start opening up our businesses. Let's open up our businesses. That's crucial to our well-being and our wealth.
And family doesn't always have to be your flesh and blood family either.
Yes. I
found that some of my closest people that I've worked with professionally and spiritually are definitely extended family, and they get treated just like flesh and blood. Like, you need communities. So I just wanted to add that in, that family doesn't always have to look like, who is that friend that's been there and is ride or die for 20 years and you realize that she has a book in her. Yeah. Like, push her to write that book. And if you're good in marketing, you interview her on your show, right, and then let her blow up. Those types of things. Like, we all have different gifts, but if we use it together, it should be easy for us to, especially in a place like Delaware. Yeah. When we have small communities, we should be able to do this easily.
They call us crabs in a basket for so many different reasons, which we won't get into that. But I will say this, whether it's true or not true, let's not make it be true. Let it not be true. Let's form unions and alliances with comrades and people of like-mindedness and create, because that's really ultimately what we're here for by the divine expression, and you and I, Abundance, we have no blood that I know of, but you are my family. You are my sister. And I look forward to the projects and the working together that you and I are coming up with. Yes. So you guys, you definitely want to stay tuned to Abundance and Rachelle Wilson, Make Some Intelligent Noise, because that is what we're going to be doing, making some abundant, intelligent noise.
And we need, in order for all of these things to happen, we just need the healing to begin. Like, we have to start healing, because the healing to me is finding out what your weakness is, whether the weakness is from abuse, whether the weakness is from just your own bad habits, finding out what they are and, healing from that.
Yeah, Ayanna Van Zant tells us that we're all dysfunctional until we recognize that and then heal it and then we're no longer dysfunctional.
That's right.
So I wish each and every one of you within the sound of my voice a resounding and absolute wonderful day. It's beautiful. Today is what, October 11th? And it's a really gorgeous day out. Even though the sun's not shining directly, the sun is always shining. And so it has been an absolute pleasure from my heart to yours to broadcast with you, to share my thoughts and viewpoints with you. I cannot thank you enough for chiming in, for tuning in, for being a support. I love you. Make Some Intelligent Noise loves you. The Political Power Hour, we love you. And so that's what I have to say for now. And so we will see you on the next go round. Thanks again. Remember, be good to yourselves, be good to others, because evil can only triumph when good people do nothing. All right? So do something and be good. Peace and grace.
Peace. Just never lets me finish.